SIRTOBA Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome.
Good evening, I'm Drew Willingham.
Welcome, one and all across the nation and around the world. I welcome you all to episode 39 of
D. Willy in the Evening.
I am your host, Drew Willingham, and we are back for another fun-filled episode of Shenanigans, but this time a little bit different. A little bit of real talk is going to be happening with this one, as this episode is brought to you by
SIRTOBA Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome.
You know, about 4 hours from now, it'll be midnight, and it'll be exactly 7 months since the last time I was here on air with this show. No sports, just real talk. And on August 16th, it was a Saturday. August 17th, a big change happened. And that's when I lost a former teammate who passed away in a car accident. And from that moment, things shifted with SIRTOBA Media. I changed focus on what I was working on each week. Plus, I had a career that at that time, I knew that at some point in the future, I needed to make some changes, but I didn't know it was all going to happen so fast. And that's why it's been so long since I've had this show on the airs. We are here for episode 39 on March 15th. Tomorrow actually makes exactly 30 days since the last time I actually produced anything, as the In or Out Sports Debate episode 133 was on February 16th, 6 months to the day that this last episode had aired for episode 38. Now, the title for tonight is 7 months later, because there's a lot to unpack. I'm going to open the door a little bit personally and show you a few things on the personal side that I don't usually do as much on the air, because generally I'm talking about sports, or with this show, it's shenanigans. So it's a little bit different for this episode than normal, but I promise you there's going to be some highs. There's going to be a couple lows, but throughout, as you watch, I believe you'll be pretty entertained. With that being said, let's go ahead and take this on into Start It On Up. And here with Start It Up, we're going to go back basically to August and talk a little bit more about what we were just talking about as far as August 16th to 17th. A good teammate of mine passed away in a car accident, and everything kind of happened fast, with a memorial game to his service in itself. And the way everything went, I felt compelled to do some type of documentary for him. And I was able to complete that within 6 weeks of all of that. On September 30th, this right here was released, because stopping was never an option. Regardless, we moved. The Tavon Dawson story was available on September 30th and is still on SIRTOBA Media. It has a little over 400 views, and thank you to all of you out there who have watched it. Over time, I believe it'll definitely pick up some more steam, but regardless of the views, I poured my heart into that. I mean, his number was 22. I made it exactly 22 minutes and 0 seconds long. And thanks to his mom for working with me on that, because we basically told the story from his birth to the end. And of course, you can't put everything in there, but for what you can do within a 22-minute documentary, I mean, I was very comfortable with what I put out there, and was very proud of what I put out there on September 30th. For something for his family and friends like myself to be able to go back and look, special holidays, birthday, the anniversary of his passing, stuff like that, to be able to go back and remember his impact on all of us. And to be able to have the opportunity to do that meant a lot to me, but it came at a cost. It came at a big cost, because by the time I've uploaded that video, I I had this weight that felt like it came off of my chest, but at the same time, I didn't feel right. It's kind of like, I wouldn't want to say like when actors get into deep character about a movie that they were doing. It felt kind of like that, but I was just I had poured so much energy into that, along with my job, with the responsibilities that I had at that time. It just took a lot out of me. So from that point forward, the shift kind of changed as far as things that came out for this brand. And shout out to Corey, with his production that he has, the Grind, a wrestling podcast that he does on a regular basis. Been doing it on a lot more regular basis, and I've been doing my stuff since August because of the things I just said. And I could feel some things changing out here. Like, I don't want to go into like spiritually or talk as far as like um, religiously within this, but I could just feel something change because from that moment on September 30th, some things started to line with themselves and conversations were had and opportunities were there. And I applied towards the opportunities, and the background process took quite a bit. But from the job that I was working at the time that I uploaded that documentary to now, I've switched gears. As of January 5th of this year, I have started a new opportunity with another company. If you want to find out, you can go look at my LinkedIn page because I'm going to keep those separate from this video right here because it has absolutely nothing to do with the overall scope of what we're talking about. We'll get to the shenanigans here real soon. But long story short, from the documentary to approaching the holidays, applying towards a new opportunity, going through the background check, going through the 3-panel interview of 3 sets of different interviews for this, I went from working a pretty decent job to a next level, possibly could retire from this type of company that I'm at now. And I'm very blessed to be in this opportunity. But I think that everything I did last year and over the years leading up to it had a lot to do with how that opportunity came about, with the process in which I went through within the interview process. There was a lot of character growth that I've been working on through over the years that 10 years ago to this day, 10 years ago to this day, I would not have deserved this type of opportunities that I've had over the last half decade because of where I was back then. There was a lot of things that had happened, a lot of mistakes that had happened growing up that I was paying the price for. And, it just goes to show that a shift in your mindset, how you approach things, if you truly learn from your mistakes and apply those things each and every day, basically where I'm getting at, what led to that 10 years ago, I was homeless living in my car, and there was different things that I had to do and help from family that I'll admit that I had to have leading up to recent times, that if I didn't have all that at that point, I wouldn't be here today. I truly believe that. They invested in me and I invested right back by doing the best I could to better myself from that situation, from working in food at that time to working in IT. Like, there's a lot of growth that has happened within the last half decade. And in that decade, I also got back into media that I was working with before all that bad stuff happened a decade ago. So the stepping stones of life, learning from the mistakes of yesterday, if it wasn't for that, there wouldn't be all this cool stuff that's happened within the last 7 months alone, let alone the last half decade. So there's many people that have had a hand in it. There's been very few, though, that have truly stayed with me throughout the path. And if it wasn't for them, again, I put everything that I have on this and say, thank you very much. And hopefully I'm making the overall group proud by what we're doing today. Not just this show. Okay. Not podcasting. I'm talking about offline, which if any of you read my Facebook post the other day, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And I might even do a separate episode about that at some point. But asbestos is no joke, and going through an abatement and all sorts of stuff because of a water leak that happened back in January is no fun. So we might talk about that on another episode. The whole purpose of doing tonight's episode was for me to escape that for a little bit because it has been an experience. Before we go any further, let's go ahead and check out the chat. We've got Sick Diggy in the chat saying, "What's good, everybody?" As well as my man G Money out here with the heart symbol, my guy out here in these streams. Thank you very much for tuning in as we are just getting started. There's much more to come. Shout out to him as he's got his own triumphs that he's doing personally. So I have to give my shout out to him as well. So 3G Money, Lego folks. But if he wants to do his own podcast and talk about his own personal triumphs, he can. I will not throw him out there. This is the platform. However, G Money, if you want to come out on this show at some point and we talk shenanigans, or even we could do a live stream bowling at some point and have some shenanigery on here, we got the platform to do it here on this show right now. Not this second, but you know what I'm talking about. So 7 months ago, as we were saying, all that was developing to where by the end of December, the shift was happening. I was leaving that company and I was coming here, and it all, I believe, had to do a lot with this. If it wasn't for doing this, I don't feel like everything would have aligned within itself to be here today. And even though the other thing I was talking about with the asbestos was a bumpy road, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. You can't have all of the great stuff without having to experience some tough things along the way. And it's been challenging. I got to say, there are a few more gray hairs in this beard than there was back in 7 months ago because of all that stuff, along with the stress of the process that I was going through towards the end of the year to even get to this point. So G Money, who's out there in the chat, he was a big part of it, a big motivating factor, and he's part of those people that I was telling you about just a few minutes ago. If it wasn't for him and many others along the way, but G Money was part of that core of the group, if it wasn't for him and those others, this wouldn't be possible today. So thank you all as we got into a little bit of the personal part of the show. Now, we're in the new year. We are in the new year. And like I said earlier, at midnight, 7 months ago was the last time we had shenanigans for episode 38. Things were a little bit different. I needed to take some time before I came back to this because even though it's not as detailed as the sports shows that I do and not as elaborate with bringing on other panelists, it's different. You gotta be in a different kind of setting for it, even though it's the same setting with the same, background with the green screen and everything. There's a different delivery that comes with it, especially for this next segment that we're about to get to. And that is Caption This. As you see with the Caption This transition right here. This is where we take pictures. And we basically, when you see a picture, it says 1,000 words. So when you see these pictures, like for an example in previous episode like this, you tell me what you're thinking in the comments. What you were thinking when you see a picture like this. When I see this, I think the kid's trying to be Batman is when I see that one. And especially with this one right here. He drank too much, passed out, and somebody took his head and made some art with it. That's what I see when I see those two. But tonight we have different photos, not this one and not this one. We are going to talk about some things that I personally created during this time off away from the media side of it. ChatGPT had this thing a while back, and luckily I had already gone and done some professional photos with a suit and tie on. I was looking pretty swift, and I put that as my Facebook profile picture today, even though I did alter the background because I sat in front of one of those gray screens. But what I did with ChatGPT is, I kind of got bored for a period of like a weekend, and I started making these like parody movie posters, right? So for this segment of Caption This, I'm going to show those 10, and I want you to caption this with what you see. You're going to see a character I developed named Bruce Willis, as well as Willis Doesn't Give a Fuck. He is inspired by Ike, who hopefully will come into the comment section at some point tonight, as we are here for Caption This, the segment on episode 39. Before we get to that, G Money says bored parents. I guess he's talking about this right here, bored parents, or this one. Which one, G Money, are you talking about? I'm not sure. You got to tell me. Now, he says, then bored kids. 6 says, what in the Ed Grimley? Well, I'm not too sure. I think he had a little bit too much of the sauce, and somebody made him pay. Now, with Caption This, I'm going to go ahead and pull up the first photo. And the funny thing is since the last time I was on this platform with StreamYard doing the live stuff, it actually changed. Okay, so that's actually the button. I'm finding this out in real time. So the image file I'm going to share with you guys is right here. And I got it on my desktop. We're going to start with number 1. This is parody number 1. Die Hard 6, the greatest Christmas movie of all time. Let me take that background away. What do you think of this right here? Do you think this would be the greatest Christmas movie of all time? If I was Bruce Willis, if we could take Bruce Willis back to about 20 years ago when he was doing like the movie Red, if we could take him back to that era of Bruce Willis where he was still on top in action movies. 6 says it's in the reference to the baby. Okay. And bored parents for the baby, bored kids for the unfortunate parent photo. With this right here, though, Die Hard 6, do you think that this could be the greatest Christmas movie of all time that would basically be better than the first Die Hard, which is, in my opinion, the greatest Christmas movie of all time? Let me know here in the comments. Let's go ahead and take this on into the next picture of the movie poster that we have. Let's take a look at Rambo 6, featuring myself as Rambo's nephew, coming soon to Paramount Plus. Passing the torch. Rambo 6, that doesn't even look like Sylvester Stallone, but that does look like the other characters who play within the Rambo movies. We are going nuts. Rambo, and Rambo 6. What do you think? Let me know out here in these streams. Now, the third one that we have, this is a sequel of a great one. The sequel of Pulp Fiction from the makers of Pulp Fiction, The Path of a Righteous Man, featuring myself as Willis Doesn't Give a Fuck, coming soon to Netflix. When it comes to Caption This, what do you think of this? John Travolta and Samuel L. Jackson look pretty close. And then you got your boy right there in the middle who's starring with them, featuring with them in the sequel to Pulp Fiction. For Caption This, what do you think? Would this be a great parody movie? 6 says Hambo. He likes it. Yippee-ki-yay, mother father, as we go back to Die Hard 6 and Rambo 6, which I actually still have Rambo 6 right here. Hambo. But that right there is the first 3. We still have 7 more. Let me know out here in the comments what you think. Let's go ahead now that I've figured out this new update since the last time I was on the stream. Let's go ahead and take it to the 4th one. Now, if you like kids shows when you were young, this right here, Barney, the party is over, featuring Bruce Willis as the executioner in this parody movie starring Ryan Seacrest, Kim Kardashian, and Steve from Blue's Clues, coming soon to PBS. Would you watch that? It probably wouldn't be on PBS, and it probably would be rated differently. But for this one right here, for Caption This, Barney, the party is over. What do you think right here? Would you tune in? Would you pay $19.99 to watch this mother father movie right here? I know I would, and I'm not trying to be self-centered saying because I'd be starring in it, I would be watching it. I would watch it because look at it. It stars Ryan Seacrest, Kim Kardashian, and Steve from Blue's Clues, and I look like Elmer Fudd hunting a wabbit. That is exactly what is going on right here. As Six says, Barney meets Jurassic Park. Along with G Money says, followed by Barney Returns After Dark. That sounds like something that would have been on HBO back in the day after midnight, if you know what I'm saying. All right. But yes, Barney, the party is over. He says, Elmer is hilarious. I'm trying out here. I'm trying out here in these streams. Let's take it to the next one that we have. This is number 5. And for number 5, this one, I took it to another one that I feel like there needs to be a sequel to. Step Brothers, The Adoption of Another. Did we just become drummers? In theaters, spring 2028, featuring Bruce Willis, myself if I had a stage name, Will Ferrell, and John C. Reilly. What do you think? Would you tune into this right here? Most sequels absolutely suck, but I believe if you brought someone like myself and the energy in there, featuring myself and these two right here, they could bring the best out in me. And yes, I would trim the beard up to look just like that in the movie poster. But what do you think? Do you think that this would take off right here? Six says, shh, be very, very quiet. We hunting Bonnie. But with Step Brothers 2, you know exactly what happened when Dale's drum set got mother father destroyed. So, when it comes to that, we are halfway through with this segment of Caption This. Let's go ahead and take it into the next one that we have. And this one, even though there's already 2 of them, because the second one was a remake of the first one, you got to do The Longest Yard 2. Featuring Bruce Willis, starring Tom Brady, Adam Sandler, O.J. Simpson, Derrick Henry, Rashee Rice, Shannon Sharp, Braun Strowman, The Rock, Roman Reigns, and Brock Lesnar. What do you think of this right here? Coming soon to Spike TV. If anybody remembers Spike TV from back in the day, Spike TV was something else. It was TNN, then it became Spike TV. And now it's something else. I can't even remember what Spike TV became, but I do know that it evolved in something else. It might be Paramount Plus for all I know at this point. It said based on a true story. Add a 4th guy, and you've got a barbershop quartet for Step Brothers 2. Mr. McCoffey's in the house. He says, take the number 69. It's hilarious. And yes, I did personally make sure that myself had the number 69 in this one for this segment of Caption This. When it comes to The Longest Yard 2, Raising the Stakes, coming soon to Spike TV. Now, we still have 4 great movie posters that we got to look at in this parody segment of Caption This. For this next one, if you remember this Christmas movie from the 90s, not many people talk about it nowadays, but they should. Jingle All the Way 2, Turbo Man Obsolete, coming soon to Tubi, featuring Bruce Willis, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sinbad, Jim Belushi, Liv Morgan, and Jake Lloyd. Jake Lloyd was the kid who played Arnold Schwarzenegger's kid in Jingle All the Way. Now he's all grown up, and it looks like Liv Morgan's his girlfriend, and I look like the evil toy store owner or whatever, pushing the red button to make Jingle All the Way explode. What do you think of this parody movie poster right here? Would you tune into this one for the low price of $29.99 on Tubi? Even though Tubi's free, but we got to make you pay for it. Just for this one, $30. would you pay $30 to watch Jingle All the Way to Turbo Man Obsolete on Tubi? Let me know. 6 says, you need Al Michaels doing commentary for The Longest Yard too. We discussed this movie a while back. We did. We very much did. I hit you up in the chat or on the messenger, and we were talking about this for a minute. But yes, for this segment of Caption This, Jingle All the Way to Turbo Man Obsolete. Now, we still have a few more parodies that we got to look at that I made during my time away from the streams. Let's take a look at this next one. If you are a fan of Tom Cruise, what do you think of this right here? Top Gun 3, Afraid of Heights, featuring Bruce Willis, Tom Cruise, and Terry Nunn in theaters fall 2028. This one was actually suggested by Sick Diggy, and why I went through and made this poster right here. What do you think of this? Top Gun 3, Afraid of Heights. Bruce Willis, Tom Cruise, and Terry Nunn. Speaking of which, based on the comment, I'll take it back to Turbo Man for a second, because Mr. McCoffee says this. Plot twist, the evil toy store owner is Turbo Man. Oh, how great that would be if Turbo Man was that.
Hell to the no, 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 no. Hell no, to the no.
Some people would be saying that along with this. Along with...
Are you for real?
There's a lot of buttons I had to click. I forgot I had so many buttons to click on this right here. Like, there's a lot of things I'm going to be clicking on tonight to kind of get it out of my system.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
I mean, you do. You're the ones tuning in. So thank you very much for watching. But with this right here, 6 says, Sinbad and Arnold throwing down in a radio station rematch. Abso-mother-father-and-lutely. Now, with this right here, Top Gun 3, Afraid of Heights. What are your thoughts on this? Especially you, Sick Diggy, you being the one who suggested that I create something with Top Gun. And with here, I made it Afraid of Heights. In theaters, fall 2028. While you come up with your answer for that one, I'll take us to the next image and just have this one in the background. Well, actually, Sick has fired it on up now, so I'll bring it up first. He says, Terry, Top Gun 3 would be taking a lot of people's breath away, even at like 72 years old. No, she can't be like 72 years old, but maybe like 60. Like definitely 50s. What are you talking about taking breath away? Sick has a thing for the grandmas. He says, you can be my wingman anytime. Yeah! That's what I'm talking about. Wingman out here in the streams. Hell yeah. Thank you there, Mr. McCoffee. And he says, you'd probably hear Berlin drop another great song for this film. Yes, it absolutely was. This movie came out, I think, before I was born. But it was still on TV a lot growing up, so I saw it. Highway to the Danger Zone. Now, let's take it on into the next one. I'll still keep this one in the background in case you fire off any other great zingers for this. But for those of you who like action shows back in the 90s, especially the Power Rangers, I made this one right here. Power Rangers Return of a Ninja, featuring Bruce Willis as the Green Ranger. In theaters, summer 2028. What are your thoughts right here when it comes to Power Rangers Return of a Ninja? Let me know out here in the comments. But while you're thinking of that, Terry Nunn is 64 years old. Still looks pretty good, he says. I did not look her up on here before we went live and before I threw all of this together. So I'm just learning in the moment, you all. This is what's happening out here in these streams. So when it comes to that, when it comes to the Power Rangers, what are your thoughts right here when it comes to Power Rangers Return of a Ninja? Featuring myself as Bruce Willis, the Green Ranger, summer 2028. Out here in the stream.
English, motherfucker, do you speak it?
I'm trying as we talk about this out here in these streets.
Stop it. Get some help.
I don't think that's necessary. I think when we're here for this segment, caption this, people, if you grew up in the 90s, even if you were a teenager in the 90s, you knew the Power Rangers. Unless, and I understand, depending on how you were raised, it might not have been allowed in the household because it had violence. For that, I get it. But you all still know who the Power Rangers are. You've still watched it. You know right here when it comes to caption this, how awesome it would be if this could come into fruition. Now, do I even have the stamina to pull it off to be the Green Ranger in this moment? No. Not happening. Not happening for this segment of Caption This. It's believable because of the creation of said poster for these streams. Green Ranger out here right now. Now, let's take it to the last one that we have. The very last for Caption This. And it's going to be the sequel to this right here. But it's the fifth one. Lethal Weapon 5 getting too old for this ish. Will they give a fuck? One more time. Featuring myself as Willis Doesn't Give a Fuck. Coming soon to Netflix. You got Joe Pesci, Chris Rock. You've got Danny Glover. It's supposed to be right behind me, but he looks very young. Along with another version of Joe Pesci and Mel Gibson. I guess that's two Joe Pesci's, or is that like Sean Penn down there? I don't know. Sean Penn beside Chris Rock. It's a whole new team out here. I don't know. But then you got me who's just showing up in a shirt like this, like the SIRTOBA Media shirt, just ready to rock and roll. I guess I'm a cop. I don't know. I created it and I can't remember. But what I can tell you is this. It was absolutely fun to make this one right here. And we'll go back to the previous one as Sick came through the comment. It says, I grew up in the 80s. Cartoons and shows had plenty of violence and slapstick humor. Yes, but I do know some out there when I showed them this poster. And one of them said that he was not allowed to watch when he was growing up because of the violence. So I get it. But you know, ever since you've seen it on YouTube was my argument. And yes, since he's been an adult, he had seen the Power Rangers and knows exactly what they are about. He also says Ryan says, if the Power Rangers need power at bat, I'm sure they could use you. Yes. When it comes to power at bat, if you want to talk about that, let's go ahead and take it to what that looks like. Well, things have changed since that time. I don't know if I can pull that off anymore, but it's still there. It's still possible. Now, the next comment is some laughing emojis by Sick. Because here we are for getting too old for this ish. Will they give a fuck? One more time. You let me know out here in these streams, as it could maybe one day come soon to Netflix in another universe. But for this universe as a parody, at least it is awesome. It says Kevin James would show up as Paul Blart, would make a cameo in Lethal Weapon 5. IT support by day, vigilante by night. It's Willis Doesn't Give a Fuck. Sick and Ryan, y'all are crushing it. This is almost as great as the time that Sick and I battled for 28 seconds over an almond.
Everybody gonna come out of this episode with six-pack abs after this.
Bro, how do you milk an almond? Straight up. My man's asking a question. How do you milk an almond? Where's the milk come from?
How do you milk a soybean?
Where is its nipple, Sick Dickie?
How do you milk a soybean, for that matter?
Fucking soybean. How do you milk an almond? Oh, great times out here in these streams. That does it for Caption This, except Brian does say, right, how do you milk an almond? Sick, we are a year removed from that. That was February of last year. It's actually now been 13 months since that episode. And I'm still trying to figure out how in the father you milk an almond. Furthermore, how do you milk an oat? Exactly the argument that we were having, or at least I was having with Sick. And he's out here in the comments. He should be able to further explain how this happens. Milking an almond, milking an oat. How in the expletive is it possible? It is now time for the next segment as we take it on into shenanigans at its finest. Oh, wait, hang on. Before we do that, though, Six says, or a grain of rice for that matter. Absolutely. When it comes to figuring out how you get an almond milk at all. It's absolutely wild. I'm still trying to put it together. Now, because of where we're at in the show, let's go ahead and take it to shenanigans at its finest for the headline of the show when it comes to doing a little bit of singing. Whoa, sorry. I was jamming to that one. It's been a while since I clicked that button. I forgot how awesome that transition was. Let's do it one more time. I'm not even sorry for that one. That was great. But for this shenanigans at its finest, I'm doing something a little bit different. We're talking about Clifton's song. And some of you know out there, I've sent it to a couple people just because I stumbled upon this song a while back, and I have like a 90-minute drive to work each day. And it's 3 hours round trip. So going to work, it's 90 minutes. So on the way to work, I listen to a lot of different music or podcasts, listen to my friends' podcasts and stuff too. But there are times where I'll listen to music. And this one, and I listen to different kinds of music, like all kinds, and sometimes parody stuff. And in this case, it's a parody song. And it made me think of an old friend named Clifton. And Clifton, cool guy, absolutely cool guy. But if you didn't know him, he kind of gives off this vibe like what I'm about to play for this song. It's a short little clip, but you'll get exactly where it's coming from. Let's go ahead and listen to Clifton's song.
I wish a motherfucker would start testing my patience. I wish a motherfucker would say something as I pass. I'm a race car in the red. I love to whoop that ass. Oh, I wish a motherfucker would say something as I pass. I'm a race car in the red. I love to whoop that
So what do you think of Clifton's song? If you just randomly walked by old Clifton and you didn't know him, you just had this look on his face like he's ready to do that. Shenanigans at his finest. What do you think? Tell me out here in these streams. What are your thoughts about shenanigans at its finest segment for Clifton? Before that, Mr. McCoffee says, or a soybean. Absolutely. Six says, I've listened to songs like this in the past year. They're created with AI. Well, I guess I'm having fun with AI out here because when it comes to that song, it was absolutely great. Wait, I think I've heard this song before. I might have sent it to you before. I've sent it to a lot of different people over the course of the last couple months since I stumbled upon it. It was made like a year ago. If you search for I Wish a MF Would out here in the streams and YouTube, that's where I found it. That's where I got it. And I took like a little clip. And if you see the story that I made on Facebook, Instagram, or Snapchat, that's the song I use. So I figured I'd I'd check it out and see if I get some type of strike for it on any of the social platforms, because we are streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch tonight. So we'll see. I figured it'd be okay to bring this back to the platform and to have a little fun. And I'm having a lot of fun with that song. Speaking of which, if you want to go back and listen to it, you can do it again later. But there's many things that have happened over the course of the 7 months, like we were talking about before we even got to the shenanigan at its finest, before we even got to the caption this, that I want to touch base on for the last segment that we're going to do tonight, and that is taking it home. So for taking it home, it's usually where we talk about the closing parts of the episode. And, part of this kind of bleeds into the beginning of the show, where the last 7 months have kind of changed how I'm going about this thing called content creation. And it has nothing to do with the numbers, which, consistency is key, and I have not been consistent over the course of the past time of that 7 months, which is why the numbers have gone down. A year ago, things were a little different. We had 3 different people, including myself, 2 other people, doing content consistently on this channel, which was why we went from just such a small following to, on YouTube, we got like 1.3 and some change of subscribers. TikTok is doing pretty well with like a little over 1,000. I believe Facebook has a pretty solid number too, like close to 1,000 or something like that. But because the consistency hasn't been there, the numbers and the retention and all that have struggled. Now, I want to thank you all who have been watching this tonight between the multiple platforms, and hopefully we can get these shared and get a little bit more eyes on it. That isn't necessarily going to change how fast I come back to this. There's a lot coming up. I'm going to be going out of town on business here soon for some training. And I've got some things personally going on that are going to require my attention outside of this as well. This was honestly kind of a spur of the moment thing a couple of days ago, where with everything going on, even though I have a lot of fun being with people on here, and a lot of what I do with content creating involves bringing people in and sharing the platform with them in kind of a word vomit way, I kind of needed to get out here and say all this stuff I've said tonight, because I needed to get it off my chest. Now, regardless if it had 10 views or 20 views or 1,000 views for the video, I'm not sweating it, because this is like knocking the rust off. There's other people out there like Mr. McCarthy out there who have asked, if I would like to do some things with him and his partner Dustin on No Credentials Required. And I definitely have signed up for one of those to talk about a sports movie here in the coming weeks. But there's other things I'd like to do that others have brought me in, that doing something like tonight is knocking that rust off. And even though those first few minutes were a little dicey, clicking a couple buttons and figuring out some of these updates that have happened since the last time I produced something, it was like riding a bike. I mean, this has been really, really fun to be able to do this, to have the interaction from Sick and Mr. McCarthy in the chat, and anybody else who watches this after the live who wants to, participate in the comment section. Thank you very much. It means a lot. Support from everybody out here that supports, whether it's a small amount per time or a decent amount. Any type of help out here to get this out there is big. It means a lot. So there's a few more things that I'll definitely share before we get on out of here. And one of them, I kind of developed a motto while I was away. And for those of you who have me on LinkedIn, you've seen this, but I think I shared this with the episode that Kyle and I did a month ago when I brought In or Out Sports Debate back for one episode. But I want to share this because this is something that I really live by. And this is the motto that I have, and it's bet on yourself. outwork the doubt, and leave a legacy. And then I put my name and, what my title is here for SIRTOBA, which is the creative director and brand leader for this, as well as what I do in my real life. And that's a data center technician. So, no matter what it is that you do out there, you have to bet on yourself. And I was talking earlier about how things looked for me 10 years ago. I wouldn't have been able to come up with all this stuff. I wouldn't have been able to. It was a whole different time, a whole different mindset, and to be able to do those things within the time that has been there. 10 years flies by fast, and to be able to figure a lot of things out that I didn't know back then on the fly throughout, and from help from others, I'm very truly grateful. Also, having the internet at your fingertips and Google and stuff is another way that I've been able to figure things out too. Generational wealth is very true. And I'm not talking about passing down money from generation to generation. I'm talking about information, how to live life. And it's not what you're passing down. It's necessarily how you do it, and how you do it registers with young kids in a different way. And others tried along the way, but maybe the approach wasn't the greatest, and maybe it didn't sink in like it should have. And there's still a lot of other information that should have been given that wasn't afforded based on circumstance of, you don't get to pick where you come from. And I'm not throwing any shade on where I came from. It's just the method in which my life was growing up. There was a lot that I still had to learn as getting into adulthood. It was a bumpy road, but to be able to be on this other side, to be able to have these type of candid conversations, to be able to produce the things that I do and have the gifts that I have, I'm very blessed for it. And there's a lot of people, whether it's teaching me different things along the way, like Mr. McCarthy's part of that, and there's other people out there like Snowman and Cole Johnson and other people that I have to thank, that regardless if my name's brought up on their stuff, I still pay them homage because I've learned a lot of things along the way. And if it wasn't for those people, especially in the media aspect of it, and Darrell Owens and many others out there, I wouldn't still be doing this today. Corey Mann, another person out there, one who works with me here on SIRTOBA Media. There's many people I could name when I talk about this kind of stuff. It's your impact is why I have this type of graphic right here. I wouldn't have elevated to this point personally offline outside of these streams. Sick Diggy, you're part of it too. Just the conversations we have, even though most of it is nonsense and shenanigans, is that type of fun that I have out here that keeps me going. So 10 years ago, it was different, much, much different. And to be able to go through that type of struggle is why it is truly real to be awesome in 2026. So as much as I thank others, I'll take this time to thank myself for not giving up, because this has been a cool year, except for the last month of the other stuff, if from seeing on Facebook, that I usually don't get personal on, but I shared that. I just want to do a separate episode of that because it's not fully over yet, and you can't I just don't want to talk about it till after the rebuild. So but for this right here with this graphic, thank you to those who've had a hand in it. I also did make a change, and that goes to the logo. I made a new logo, which if you saw with the background that I had earlier, I made this. This is the new logo for SIRTOBA Media, even though this is one of the old ones. What do you think? Let me know here in the comment section what you think about the new SIRTOBA Media logo that I made. It's a little bit more 3D. It sticks out a little bit more. I like it. And I think the next set of shirts and hats that I get made is going to have that on there. So I'm not sure when. It'll be at some point this year, but this, I believe in my heart, is the official SIRTOBA Media logo at this time. Let me know what you think out here in these streams. Let's take it to the final graphic that I want to share, and that is with this SIRTOBA Media logo. As it says, SIRTOBA Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome, with my name and the creative directive title. That big sexy look from back when I had the hair. Things are much different now. I've cut it down, and I'm not sure if I'm going to let it go again, but I feel like that's still a good graphic to use for these banners, because SIRTOBA Media Championships right there. Even though I did use a little bit of AI for that formation of that with the rocker clothes, and it does look like it changed the title a little bit, especially with that W over there. It altered it a little bit. Everything else looks pretty on point, but for this right here, I've just been doing little things like this to try to change and update the social media platforms. The YouTube channel I updated with this stuff right here. You know, between that and this right here, it's been a lot of updates when it comes to the platform, but we've been pretty quiet as far as the content, just because of everything else that I mentioned in this episode. So for those of you who have stuck around, who have tuned in tonight, coming back after the hiatus, thank you very much. It's still going to kind of be a hiatus for a little bit, besides filling in and doing some content with and collaborating with others, like on their own platforms, where I just show up and talk based on what we have on the slate for the night. I don't know when the next time I'm going to be able to bring In or Out Sports Debate back. This show right here might not be the only one for 2026, because, to be honest, I like doing the In or Out Sports Debate a lot, because it's a way for me to bring other people on to talk sports and share the platform with them. I've done that a little bit with this show right here, but the way this one is designed, it's a little bit different. So I'm not sure when I'll bring this back. The next 6 months for me is going to entail a lot of different changes personally. And when they happen and I discuss them, then it'll make a lot of sense what I'm talking about. But right now it's still sticking with the plan and one step, forward each day. And it's looking really good. It's looking really, really good, but you don't want to talk about what your roadmap is until after you travel it. And that's how I feel right now. Those who've been pretty close understand what it is. And it's because of their support. It's why this is all happening. So again, I can't thank you enough, both personally and on the platform. As the time is ticking, and as much as I want to keep this going, I'm running out of time. I gotta press the end stream. I gotta press the outro button in the end stream at some point, even though there's a few comments that we're going to get to before I get to my final words. So Sick Diggy says, I'm glad to see you back here, Drew Willingham. Everything happens in due time. It really does. It really, really does. And it's because of the support of you all, which is why I wanted to come back, because it's the interaction like this. Even though I do get a decent amount out here in the streets, it's a different type of, interaction here. And I missed it. As G Money, my man 3G Money says 100 with the 100 emoji with what I was just talking about. And my man, Corey, I was just talking about him a few minutes ago, his impact with all this, acknowledgement, putting the one up, putting those ones up for our guy right here. And I'll click the button for it.
Acknowledge me.
Absolutely. And to those of you out here, I'll give you a little bit of this.
What's up?
Rest in peace to my brother Chris Boyd. Tell him, and we'll also click this for you as well.
What's that?
Absolutely. Because we only get one go around at this, so they say. So, got to make the best of it while you still can. As my guy says, fire out here in these streams as we are having fun tonight. We are here for the very last segment, and we are not going to take this at the very end. Or this. Not happening tonight. Got to end it before it gets stale. So, while we're right here in this part for taking it home, Clifton's song, the last 7 months, from the documentary to the shift in career to dealing with real world problems to still finding a way to keep things positive and enjoying life out here in these streets. The struggle is real to be awesome, like the motto says for the platform, but I live that literally like Corey says each and every day when he does his show, The Grind. Okay. So when you look at it for what it is, things can have a roadmap, things can have a blueprint, you can have a plan, but things don't always go according to the plan that you set forth. As long as you keep your positive mindset for the most part, though, you'll get to where you need to be. Just because things don't go exactly the way you want them to, don't go exactly the way you plan it, doesn't mean you have to give up. It just means you have to alter those plans and literally pull an audible like they do in football in order to meet your goals in the end. Sometimes it requires a different path than what you originally set. I'm still figuring that out. But one thing's for sure is I still love doing this, and I love the support that you guys bring, whether it's during the live or post show in the post production. I'm going to do my best to get back here as soon as I can. I just don't know in what way. Based on the reactions here tonight, seems like people missed this show right here, and I'm glad to be able to have this tonight. Let me know in the comments section whether it's live or if it's during the replay, if you want to see me bring this back in 2026. If not, I'm going to bring my sports stuff back, and all I'm going to do is talk sports. Okay? I had to get a little animated right there. Had to let it out. All right? All right, don't get upset. Don't be like a snowflake because he yelled. All right. Just accept it for what it is and have a great time doing so, because that's what we are here to do tonight. As we got a few more comments before I wrap this thing on up. Snowman is in the house. Snowman says, check it in with you. Thank you, my brother, as I will give you this.
What's that?
With that.
Along with
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Because that movie is a classic and you know it. Corey says, what's the purpose of taking a road trip if you don't stop and enjoy the scenery? You're well on your way, bro. Proud of you for continuing to show up. My man, that's why you are part of this journey with me. And if you guys go to the YouTube channel, you will see I updated that banner recently where it has myself with the Kevin Nash big sexy long hair that I had a couple years ago, and my man Corey Man representing where the struggle is real to be awesome. 6 says the Monday Night Wars is a good reference to things. The Undertaker bet on himself and stayed the course. How much he reinvented himself, especially with the American Badass gimmick. Yes. And the Jonerans, no Jonerans allowed in the chat.
Yeah. Yeah.
I gotta say that was a
Surprise, motherfucker.
that one got me twisted. It really did.
What?
I said it got me twisted.
What?
You know it got me twisted.
What?
Come on, Stone Cold. Now,
You guys want to hear a fucking story?
the story is this. Mr. McCarthy adds to what we were just talking about, saying journeys sometimes have breakdowns, flat tires, and unexpected stops. Get those things figured out and continue the journey. That is literally where I was coming from. You have to experience those things. You have setbacks. You have things that slow you down. But as long as you troubleshoot it and you figure it out in the moment and you do the right things, you get back on track. And like I said, I admit there was a path in time I was not doing that. I was much younger and I still had to figure things out. But the grace of many higher powers and those who support, I'm here today. So, and with most of my health intact based on what I've been through. So it's pretty awesome to be on this side. So before this show goes, And anybody feels like this.
You're fucking scared! Yeah, you're fucking scared, man!
We don't want that to happen before it gets too late. As Six says, not all plans go accordingly. That's why they should have room to adapt and keep pushing. That's exactly it. But if you're not open to the growth and to the adjustments, you can sometimes get in your own way. So I feel that. And the words you guys added out here in the comments definitely support the direction and where I was going with it and the elevation from where things were to where they are now. Now, speaking of sports, I'm not going to talk about them now because I want to go watch part of them. Team USA in the World Baseball Classic is playing the Dominican Republic tonight, and it should be about an hour into the game. So I want to go watch the rest of that, make a snack, and get ready to go to work tomorrow morning very early. But I want to thank you all again who came in for the live or watching the replay very, very much for tuning into this one more time. Couldn't do it without you, and I hope that we can do it again at some point in the future with this show. Although, again, more than likely, I'll be bringing back the In or Out Sports Debate before I bring this episode, or before I bring episode 40 back. But for this has been episode 39 of D. Willy in the Evening, 7 months later for this date, Sunday, March 15th, 2026. And before I go, I do want to wish a happy heavenly birthday at midnight to my grandmother, who would be 106 years old if she were here today. And, she passed away back in 2011. So it's been 15 years now since she passed away. She was 90, about to turn 91. So in February of 2011. So thinking of her right now and how she would be very proud of the things that I overcame within that time since she's been gone. And I carry her with me each and every single day. So my man, Corey Mann, says happy birthday to her. And Sick Diggy also adds that as well. I've been thinking about her a lot over these past few years, and especially now with it being so close to her birthday here in a few hours at midnight here on the East Coast of the United States. That does it for episode 39 of D. Willy in the Evening. And again, remember, when it comes to yourself, bet on yourself, outwork the doubt, and leave a legacy. And as always, for me, for you, and those who care, as always, stay safe out here in these streets, because we need you and you need you as well. And I butchered the expletive out of that, but with all the butts thrown in there, you know where I'm coming from. It's time for the outro. Thank you again for tuning in.
SIRTOBA Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome.